Here at Meridian 105, we try to find very simple, straightforward solutions to common problems. These problems might be constructability, they might be an organizational problem in a building. Basically, we're trying to find solutions that make sense, that are straightforward, and we're trying to do this in a way that's very creative. We do a lot of theoretical projects here. The focus behind those projects is to work with modularity or work with a new concept in terms of organizing a building as a whole. We might, in that same study, play around with materials to see what we can do that's new and different with a project. Shou is literally translated from Japanese to English, burnt cedar board, and it's a process that involves charring cedar siding to provide a protective layer from the elements. Step one in the process is to char the wood with a blowtorch, basically. During this process of burning it, we're basically looking for the wood to turn into this kind of alligator texture. And you can really see when that wood starts to crinkle on the surface. We usually hit it with a torch for just enough time to get it to that texture, and then a few seconds after, because we basically want to make sure that we're giving a deep enough char on the surface of the wood to give that layer some depth. The next step in the process after we burn the wood is to basically rinse it off. The benefit of washing it is basically to knock off any loose material that might be on the wood that would come off later after it's been installed on the building. The final step in the process is we seal it, and the sealant we use is called Penafin. It's Brazilian rosewood that penetrates the surface. After that, we lay the wood siding out in the sun so that the sealer can dry properly. Just the nature of the charred surface, the fact that it's producing a layer of black carbon on the surface, it's got a very nice sheen to it. That gives it a really nice appearance that you don't get with a typical stained siding. You know, when it's all said and done, we wanted to clad our building with this Shou siding because we think it gives it a very unique appearance. It has the appearance of a handmade element, which is very nice. It's got texture and it's got quality to it that's not very uniform, and the fact that it's a very reflective surface, but it's also wood, we think is very interesting and adds a lot of character and integrity to the building. Brick is something that's traditionally been around for a long time, obviously. We're trying to build on the tradition of masonry in Denver, but we want to reinvent it in some way or another, or reinterpret it. So our approach to that is to obtain brick from different brick yards around town that manufacture it and experiment with it. The whole purpose of what we do in terms of building little mock-up walls and things around our property is to find these different patterns and different expressions in this material that people haven't used before, or to try out, different textures that might reinforce our building design. We work a lot with brick screens where you can see through it, and so we'll build a freestanding wall that's occupied on both sides that you can see through. We're trying to find what reinforces our project, and we'll look at these different brick patterns and we'll look at these different brick textures that are created on our building, and we'll try to look at the building as a whole and see what we can do that's new and different for our building. One thing that we discovered on this 18th and Boulder project of ours was in the brick that we selected, which was a black brick, the brickyard fired it with grooves in the back. We found that these grooves in the back of the brick created a very interesting texture in our mock-up wall from the back side. So we are having the mason on that project install all the brick inside out so that we can see this texture. Some of the other things that we do with the brick is we break it, which gives a very rustic texture. We might turn it on end vertically where you can see through the core holes in the brick. So we find a lot of texture and a lot of different expressions by playing with the brick and using all different sides of it. One of the big drives of Meridian 105 architecture is creativity, obviously. We have this beautiful industrial lot that we office out of. This gives us the opportunity to work with materials on our property. It gives us the opportunity to burn wood, to stack brick, and do interesting things like that in-house. Our architects are all very creative people that are very hands-on, It's the combination of the theoretical work and the play with materials and the hands-on approach that really drives our work and keeps things in the office fun and interesting and keeps people engaged in the work that they're doing. This gives our work a certain character to it. It gives our work a certain uniqueness to it, and we're always looking for opportunities to do something new. And the clients that we work with, they appreciate that we experiment, they appreciate that we push the boundary of design.